Interest rates are going up. Trying to get ahead is mighty, mighty tough. Bill collectors at my door. I need someone to help me raise my credit score.
Welcome to another edition of the Pearl Polto Show. Your host, Pearl Polto. You know, at the beginning of a lot of my shows, I always say, what does it take to get your attention? Well, today's show, you may not like what you see, what you get, or what we have to say, especially if you're getting harassed by bill collectors. But before we start today's show, next week, don't forget, we have Dr. Paul. Will the real vitamin please stand up? And which is the ones to take, or vitamins really essential to your health. And let's separate the facts from the fiction about vitamins, because everybody on TV is telling you what vitamins to take and how to take it. So you don't want to miss next week's show with Dr. Paul. We have a great show today for one reason. One, I'm sick of what's going on. Two, bill collectors. If any bill collector is out there, I'm out to get you. I'm out to get you now. Pure blood, I'm out to get you. And the reason why is you don't know who you're calling, what time you're calling, but you don't care if the person is 9 years old or if the person is 109 years old. My guest today is she's in her 80s. She not only had a stroke, heart problems, her daughter dying, but she's still getting harassed from the bills from her daughter. She moved in her daughter's place, and because she moved into her daughter's place, she's getting harassed morning, noon, and night by these bill collectors. I have to give her one-way credit. I've known this person for many years, but that's beside the point. The point is, and if you're out there and you know who you are, the people, not just the baby boomers, the senior citizens, but I'm going to people above 70 and the people above 80. And if there's anybody out there 90, wow. But you should know, and a few weeks from now, we're going to be doing scams on the seniors as well. But what's happening today, my guest today is brave enough. What I'm saying, brave enough, because she wants to get her message out there to people out there. Her message, one, she will be giving you, and the reason why she's coming on, and the reason why, and she has sunglasses on right now. As I said, I give this woman credit, and I hope everybody out there says the same thing and agrees with her or me. We have to do away with the bill collectors. We have to do away with what they're doing. If we can't do away with bill collectors, let's join forces. And this joining forces is we have to contact our congressmen, our senators, by saying, you know what, there's laws out there, but this is how you're breaking them. And you don't care. If you're a senator out there or a congressman out there and this is your mother, your father, and he owes a bill, even it could be a medical bill, how would you like it? How would you like to cause the stress and make the stress due to stressful situations? Now, my guest, I want to first invite her on. Welcome to the Pearl Polto Show, Marge.
Thank you, Pearl. It's a pleasure, and I really have great faith in whatever you have in behalf of the United States of America.
Well, you don't have to. You can talk normal. You can talk. But first, take your glasses off. I want the people to show. When I said what you see is what you're going to get, you're going to put your glasses back on. But she had a stroke. She had a stroke, and it's knownable. And she said, Pearl, I don't want to come on because I had a stroke. My left side is drooping. How do you feel? I know I've known you for a long time, and I've never seen you in such bad shape. But you're going to say, when did the stroke come on?
Having been in the medical field since the age of 16,
right.
Ironically, New York Presbyterian Hospital,
right.
And I stopped working in every field of medicine at the age of 74 to care for my daughter. And I cannot believe, between the bill collectors calling at 7 o'clock at night, asking me my name, and I've actually tried to always entertain and with humor to my patients, etc., and the doctors. I said, non comprende.
All right, now you can put your sunglasses back on, so you feel comfortable with it. But I had to let the people know, and you're going to tell what these bill collectors are doing to you. You have to know what these bill collectors are doing to you. What are they doing to you? When you wake up in the morning, what time do you wake up?
I rarely sleep, maybe 4 hours at the most. And when they call me, it's promptly in the past 2 weeks at 7 o'clock at night, and they keep asking for my name and ID, and I don't spend
Now, what do you do? What do you do when they?
I don't waste time on the phone.
I know you don't waste time, but what do you say to them when they say to you, "Hey, Marge, I don't know who you are, but you owe us money"? What do you say to them?
You have reached the wrong number.
Well, come on.
I know, but primarily, and before that, after the loss of my daughter, I was inundated and still am with many, many bills. My increase in rent and everything, which is comparable because I'm happy being independent all my life. Now, because of situations and bills inundated with and the phone calls that come, I think it's a waste of time to spend one's time on a telephone.
Let me tell you, Marge. Let me ask you a question. You've been around for a long time, and you've seen it all. What don't you like about this country right now? And be very honest, because who cares? I always say, you have nothing to lose. What don't you like at your age? How old are you?
I'll be 86 in September.
Okay, what don't you like about this country from seeing everything that you've seen? What can you say to the people what you don't like and what should be changed?
I am totally ashamed. I was raised in New York City, Irish parents, and we danced and sang and played the piano. Now all they talk about is who is running for president and who is the rich that we tax and the poor that are inundated and not taken care of as a result.
Has the system and our government taken care of you as a senior? In other words, do they pay your rent? Do they give you food? What do they do for you as a senior?
No way, Jose, have they ever attempted or urged anyone of my situation, a few years younger and older, at all to say, we will take care of this for you. We are told, oh, you had a stroke? Well, you're really not disabled.
Now, who pays your health care? I know you're on Medicaid, but who pays your health care? You have to pay the 20% and the 80%. Who pays that?
I joined a plan. I had to quit 2 plans that I had because of the expenses. Unfortunately, I had a major heart attack and had emergency surgery. And as a result, my prescriptions alone surmounted, and I had to apply from the pharmaceutical firm for some relief, which I had to take at least 6 months to wait for.
You know, one way I praise this woman because it's the Irish in her or something, but she's very, very independent. A lot of people prey on their family, their friends. She's so independent, she doesn't even want help from anyone, not even the system. And yet, thank God she's got a voice to say, I'm not going to take it anymore. And I keep on hearing her say, I'm not going to take it anymore. And she's been in my life for many years. I've watched her strength, and I've watched the weaknesses. But it's amazing. And I loved it the one time. I'm not sure if you remember when a bill collector called you, and I said, what did you say? And it was a bill for your daughter. It was a bill collector for your daughter. And you said on the phone, well, her number is 1-800-HEAVEN, or you gave the cemetery address.
That's what I gave, and I told them, if you're trying to reach, we're trying to reach Jean Theis, I said, you can reach her at 1-800-HEAVEN, and if not, scratch it off the book.
Now, let me tell you about my guest a little bit. Now that you see what she's getting harassed now and what she feels about our government, it's not that, and she's talking about, you look at her and you say, wow, this is a poor person, and all the poor people are out there. This person was good friends with John Travolta. This person, her daughter was PR for all the Rolling Stones. They were in Hollywood. She was with Lily Thomason. She's not from nowhere's land. She's not from the ghetto. She's been up there and back when it comes to every star out there. And if any star out there is watching and they do remember Jean Theis, well, this is her mother. And this is her mother because of Jean Theis was a proud person too. And so proud. And I knew her daughter. And I knew her daughter was PR. But she was so proud, she didn't want anybody to know in the field, in the Hollywood field, that she even died or she was sick. Now, obviously, like mother, like daughter, but now she's paying a price. She's paying a price, so she's seen both sides. Now, since you've seen both sides, you've seen how the rich live because you've been all over the world with your daughter. You've been with a lot of movie stars. Now you've seen the other side. Now you see how the poor live. And I'm not going to ask you which is better, but how do you feel about it?
I came from New York City, Central Park West. My father owned a little Irish tavern, and whenever we fell as children, Mother would say, get up and dance. And that's been my philosophy my entire life. It's not woe is me talking to you out there. It's what can you tolerate and how much more are you going to let them take advantage of you.
What do you want the people to do? What do you want me to do? What do you want us as a group to do on the seniors' behalf? What would you like us to see happen? There's an election coming up. What would you like us to see happen for seniors like you to happen? What do you want me to do personally even?
Excuse me for interrupting you, Pearl, but why is there so much emphasis on this particular election? It involves our lifestyle. It involves the sick, the poor, and everything. It never took place during the presidentials that have preceded. I am sorry, but I really think that people ought to stop maudling and get out there and fight for your rights. You brought into this world, take advantage of it, and live life to the fullest.
Have you lived life to the fullest?
I have, with one disappointment, the loss of my daughter, and yes, she was publicity director of films and musicals of Vita, and I traveled a lot with her, as well as working 2 jobs for the medical profession.
You were in the medical field at one time, correct?
All my life, for 16 years.
What do you think of these doctors today? What do you think of all the malpractices?
It's a different story. A doctor, one particular doctor I was with 42 years, after Blue Cross took their part out, what the patient owed, the doctor would put his hands up and tear the rest of the bill. Not today. I had, unfortunately, a cerebral stroke, which I recognized but didn't go because I was paranoid about expenses to be more, and never have asked anyone. I have given, but I have never asked anything of anyone. I do believe that people, take your clothes off, stare at the mirror, and say, hello, what have I achieved? Who has used me? What is all this crapo profundo, in Latin I call it, going on in a heart, in a so-called mind, such as it is, of bill collectors? And Pearl Polto, who, thank God, came into my life when I moved way back, she and her emphasis on credit and these people that are causing the distress and manipulation, and we're vulnerable, and stop being vulnerable.
Has these bill collectors caused you sickness ever?
It enhances sickness.
Because of the phone calls. Why didn't you ever get your phone number changed? The average person
I
is saying,
did,
get your number changed. And I'm always saying,
yes.
do not get your number changed. But why didn't you get your number changed?
Well, the one particular number I had changed years ago, but because my daughter in the entertainment world, she got a scholarship from school on her own since 19, and I lost her at the age of 47 suffering. And she always said to me, never let anyone take advantage of your compassionate nature, Mommy.
So, and you say it like it is to the bill collectors. You say it like it is to the people. But I was always wondering about our government, what the people really think. What do you think of the young ones out there today on drugs? What do you think of the people on politics? You've seen it all. What do you think of these people today? What do you think of the youth today?
Well,
you see the robberies. You see them taking advantage of the seniors. What do you think of these kids?
Just this morning, I heard, horrible break-in near me, and a person injured severely in her 80s. And the people that do this now are doing it to get the money so they can come up with the narcotics.
Was this in your day? Or this is new to you when you see these kids, or you're afraid to walk the streets?
No, I don't recall I modeled and played at the USO and entertained the soldiers and sailors, and I danced and went out with Chuck Yeager.
So you've been there.
You name it, I've been there.
Today?
But I say, as opposed to, somebody having too much to drink in those days, and we're talking in the 40s and 50s. But today, it's all bottom line out there, especially Obama. Every young boy in high school today is reported to be on some kind of drugs, even to the attempt of going into the relative's medicine cabinet and helping themselves.
Are you aware? I mean, are the seniors aware? Because you're speaking for a lot of seniors out there. Are the seniors aware of their kids and their grandkids stealing medicine from them? That you would say?
I would say very few are informed, and they're dealing with health issues and inundated with bills. But the truth is they should be forewarned about anyone, unfortunately, in their teens or 20s to take advantage of some kind of drug or narcotics available.
When we come back, we're going to talk about what is forbidden from these bill collectors. We're going to talk about what they're not allowed to do, but they have been doing, especially to my guest. Many of you out there is on a diet. Many of you out there have tried everything, including myself. And I've tried to lose 10 pounds in the last couple years. Couldn't do it. And I've tried everything. And if you're tired of fad diets and expensive and weight loss plans, and I have tried them all, there's only one place and one time that I said something. And every second, 5 people across the United States drink a milkshake. Well, this milkshake is a 90-day challenge kit, and I took it. It arrives packed with powerful wellness products to help you lose weight, get into shape, and achieve your fitness goal. And I've lost 10 pounds, and so far I'm feeling great, but I want to lose 5 more pounds, not to mention that these shakes actually taste like a cake mix. That's right, a cake mix. So you want to lick it to the bottom. So if you'd rather not lose weight in public or eat expensive foods or be forced to go to the gym, this is for you, because I don't like to exercise. So Body by V includes all the tools, supports, and products that you need. The entire month. It's a 30-day supply, and it's only $49 and shipping. 60 meals of fun for only $99 plus shipping for favorable body energy. I did it, and I'm going to put my testimony to it. I've lost 10 pounds already. So what are you waiting for? Success is simple as setting a goal to select a kit. Order it online. It's www.getbodybyvi.net, or you can mail the distributor personally. 888-846-8811. Ask for Carl Romano. He's a personal friend of mine. He's the independent distributor of this product, and I can't thank him enough. Try it.
Consumers, are you being harassed by debt collectors? Whether you owe the debt or not, if you're receiving phone calls or letters from collection agencies or law firms acting as debt collectors, you, the consumer, have rights. I'm consumer protection attorney Carrie Flitter. You have heard me as a guest on Polto's show. There are federal and state laws that protect consumers from the tactics used in the collection of debt. Whether your debt is owed or not, whether you've made payment arrangements or not, you have rights. If you're receiving letters or calls from debt collectors, feel free to contact our office toll-free at 888-668-1225. We'll review the communication you've received from the collector or discuss any telephone calls. If your rights have been violated, we can bring legal action against the debt collector at no cost to you. Our telephone number is 888-668-1225 or visit our website, www.consumerslaw.com. That's consumerslaw.com. This is Carrie Flitter, advocate for your consumer rights. The collectors have lawyers. You should have one too. Our number again, toll-free, Pennsylvania or New Jersey, 888-668-1225.
Welcome back to the Polto Show. Carrie Flitter will be our guest on in August one time, so he's the attorney that actually sues the bill collectors. We're doing a show today on senior citizens, and, you know, they're stepping up to the plate. They're stepping up to the plate because they're saying, we're not going to take it no more. And you've seen the show with Betty White. Well, you know what? Good job, Betty, because the seniors may be no more than the baby boomers or the youth in our country. They're not going to take it no more. I mean, all of a sudden, all these shows are coming up with senior citizens. I can't even imagine what they're sitting back when the president was when they were a little kid, and they're seeing these bill collectors, they're seeing the scams that are going on, and they're probably saying, now you tell me if I'm wrong, they're probably saying, I'm glad I'm not going to be living for another 20 more years to watch what's going on in today's country. What do you think?
I definitely agree, and from what I had heard, an avid radio listener, I heard that the affluent and wealthy people deserving of what they came have had it with the United States of America and have recently, and others are saying they too are moving to Europe and London.
You brought that up to me before this show. You said a lot of seniors can't take it no more and they're moving to London.
That is correct, but the extremely wealthy and affluent people are giving up America. What does this tell you out there?
If you had to tell the people out there, from your words of experience, what you think they should be doing, what would you say to them?
Are we speaking of the aged or younger people?
Well, actually, we're talking about everybody, because everybody that's under you, of your age, and you see what's going on in this country with the credit, even the credit. What do you think of the credit? I mean, in your day, I remember, they didn't believe in credit cards.
No, we worked for it. No matter how small or menial the job was, we went out. My mother used to say, you're not going to the beach, you're going to get a job at the hospital. And I've been working since, 2 jobs, sometimes at a time. But truthfully out there, the younger people don't seem to realize. Now they're even emphasis on expending the extension and overpay for college students today. And they get together and they talk about it, and unfortunately, drugs happens to be the topic to resolve it.
Years ago with the schools and everything else, I mean, you were around when the schools were important, when the education was important, and you see the kids back then, as you gave as gifts, I'm sure, the Slinky and everything else, and now they want computers and they want the smartphones. You're watching all this. When it comes to the parents and the kids, you must be thinking something when you see what's going on. Do you think it's for the better or for the worst of the kids?
I say technology is really for the better. The amount that one absorbs today with the computers and the technology involved, I am for the first time envious of it all. And I will strive to learn through Pearl what I can. But in the meantime, verbatim, don't take any more crap.
So the show that Betty White has on, we're not going to take it anymore. Marge Theis, my guest today, is saying don't take any more crap. But the people are afraid. They're losing their homes. They're getting harassed by bill collectors. They don't even know their credit rights.
Well, do something about it if you're afraid. Don't sit there waiting for the Almighty to come along and take care of your PayCo bills.
Who's the Almighty in your eyes?
Well, having been born and raised as a Catholic, but my best friend was a nice Jewish boy.
Okay, but when you're telling people to stand up to the plate to pay their bills, and they can't afford it because of this economy, the system, the credit cards are going to like 29, 39%, you didn't even have credit cards in your day.
No, that's true.
And the interesting part is, I remember...
No, but I do remember at the age of 16, I picked up in the subway and I went to work as a model. It was work, and when time to play, we played. But as I say today, they keep overwhelming us with the situation that's going on in Washington.
Now, we'll talk about Washington. We have a 93-year-old woman going up to Washington and saying, now the elections, the voter, you need ID. You need ID. And here's this 93-year-old woman saying, what do you mean you need ID? We lost our birth certificates. We don't have credit cards, and you're going to take away the vote. What do you think of that? Is this done on purpose, that they're pushing everyone into ID with the voting? What about the seniors what about the people like you? Do you have ID to show when you're voting? Does this 93-year-old woman have voter ID? She lost everything. So, I mean, what is this? What is our government telling the senior citizens today?
Unfortunately, and I'm being candid, being Irish and full of humor all my life, that you think really that Obama was his situation in Washington and his opponent, Romney. What are we so involved in everything that's going on when we ourselves are at a loss at this age? For many mothers, we brought you into the world, make the most of it, and get out there and work. And as far as the bills and the bills collector, do not tolerate anything from them. If they call on your phone, don't change your number and go for all that added expense for another number. Hang up.
Hang up. Now, where did you learn all this information?
From my gifted Irish father and mother.
The interesting part is you've learned, when it comes to bill collectors, you used your common sense. And even though you were afraid, you were scared, but you used your common sense.
I was never scared.
Okay, all right, you're coming in there now. Did you know? And the education that you got from the years, even from my books or whatever, you have seen, I don't need to put up with this. So you don't have the people, the seniors, and are you passing the word around to other seniors that they don't have to put up with it, they don't have to have a stroke on stress?
Yes, Pearl, and I have read all of your books, and I'm very proud of you. What you have done, and the confidence that you have in your participation in helping others. No boundaries surround you in your dealings with the discomfort that is caused. Not necessarily, woe is me, I'm an old lady, or I'm an old man. I have been on lines with food at the stores, and the old gentleman in front of me said, oh no, I can only get milk this week. I can't afford anything else. That's somebody's father out there that happened to bring you into the world.
What do you think about the kids of today that don't care about their parents?
Well, I'm speaking of 100% of the kids, but it's frightening in a way. I've known, situations through my daughter with rock and roll, which I enjoy that music, being a piano player all my life and musically inclined. But the emphasis today is with, Catholic, Protestant, and all universities even some of the teachers involved with narcotics.
If you had to change something, one thing, the president stepped in front of you and said, you're allowed to change one thing in this country, and we will put it to action, what would it be?
Lay off.
Lay off?
Lay off.
Lay off what? Going deeper into this one.
Well, what I'm trying to say is how much more emphasis can the whole population tolerate? There are some that reach out and get help, and there's others, their dignity is involved, begging. No way, Jose, will I ever beg.
You know, and she's right there. As I said, I go years back with this person, Marge Theis, and we go so years back that we've been to the politicians when Hillary was running for president. And we go way back to the hospitals where I was writing my book, Doctors Don't Lie, They Bury Their Mistakes, while we were in a room trying to steal my records. So if you want to look at that book, Doctors Don't Lie, They Bury Their Mistakes, it's still on Amazon, believe it or not. I always say there's two problems in our country, credit and health. And we want to many things when it comes to, I wanted to know what the seniors knew and understand. And sometimes she made me laugh is the 1-800, when she told the bill collectors to call 1-800-HEAVEN to talk to the person they were trying to reach. Or she was giving them the address of the cemetery. And I thought, you know, a lot of more people should be like her with the gump instead of the scaredness that's going on today. We have laws out there, and in August we will have the attorney that does sue the bill collectors. And joining forces with credit laws and bill collectors, one, you know, they're not allowed to harass you. And what does harassment mean? As you're sitting in your household watching this, and as you're saying, I get harassed morning, noon, and night. I don't know what to do but to change my number. You heard my guest say, don't change that number. Because then, you know what? Why are you belittling yourself to do what they want? What they're not allowed to do, they're not allowed to threaten you on the phone. It's verbal, and they're not allowed to say, we're going to lock you up, because they won't lock you up. They're not allowed to call you all hours of the night. They're not allowed to call your neighbors telling them about your debt. They're not allowed to say they're going to attach your wages, especially if it's prohibited by law. Now, are they doing all this? Top of the above? They're doing it all, because it's all verbally that it's done. So people out there listening, I don't care if you're 19 or you're 92, these are all violations against the Fair Debt Collection Act. And I constantly tell people, you know, you have more rights than they do. And these people are coming into business. Here's what I'm going to suggest. If you receive a bill collector letter worldwide, I don't care where you're at, if you're receiving a bill collector letter, don't throw it out. Don't throw it out. Mail it to me. Mail me your bills. And in return, when you mail me your bills, instead of throwing them into the trash, I give them, and I go over them, each one of them, and I give them to our consumer protection attorney and our associate, Carrie Flitter. And if there's one little word that's a violation, you have a free lawsuit case. Yeah, free lawsuit case. You could sit back and enjoy the ride, as I always say it. One time I had him on as a guest on one of my shows. He showed me a bill. And I'm a credit expert, but he showed me a bill. And I looked at it, turned it around, and I said, what's wrong with this bill? I don't see anything wrong with this one. I read the whole thing. Nothing's illegal. And he said, look at the other side. I said, well, I can't read it. He said, there's the violation, because you can't read it. And the reason why they did this is because you can't read it. So how would you know the law? So there's so many laws out there to protect you, and not that many attorneys understand credit. Not that many attorneys want to sue bill collectors. And the reason for that is, so I give Carrie a lot of credit as well, and he will be a guest on in August, but I give him a lot of credit as well because many attorneys don't want to go into the field. One, they think it's not enough money. Hello. So you could tell who they're for and who they're not for. They're not for the consumer. And many attorneys just don't get it. They don't get it. They will say to a consumer, and I'm sure they said it to you when all the bills were coming in, file bankruptcy, Marge, and that'll wipe away all your problems.
Oh, I have been approached, and this was many years ago. And you're all knowing, Pearl, and I constantly speak, and everybody out there, to contact for any economical or credit or harassment that they get relating to your credit and monies, to contact Pearl Polto.
You know, you've been doing this for years with me, and I know you remember you appeared with me at the University of Pennsylvania.
That's
when
correct.
We did the TV station,
Right.
when we educated the students, because all the students were behind on their student loans, and Marge was one person in the audience. She was also there with me on CNN, if you remember, in the green room when Rocky's mother was there.
That's right. She was
And
in the green room with
she
me.
was in the green room with us. It was Rocky's mother. And so Marge has accompanied me to a lot of events, TV shows, a lot of places that we were educating people for the last 30 years. Sadly enough to say that we all grow old. Sadly enough to say that some of these bill collectors get over. I am not going to be sad enough to say I'm after you, because I've known this woman for over 30 some years, and you did get to her to the point where the stress, and I can't blame it on that, but I'm going to contribute to a big percent of it, of why she had a stroke. You can only take so much as you're growing older. The blood pressure goes up. Did you have high blood pressure?
I had it result of a family situation, and resolved it with hopefully my humor, etc. But as anything, I did never have said in my life, woe is me. I'm the youngest of 7, and that's the way I'm brought up, and I'm proud of it. But Pearl is a realization. Everybody out there, this is called life. This is called reality.
And you say it like it is. I wish there was more people like you. I'm sure there's more. Are there more seniors like you?
I have yet to meet them.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's the nationality. Maybe you have to be Irish, or maybe you have to be
I'm
Italian.
only kidding.
Maybe you have to be Italian, or maybe you have to be Irish.
Oh, they have their faults too.
When it comes to saying it like it is, I respect people, not just in their 80s, as my guest is, but I respect people not to be afraid. And I can't stress this enough to everyone out there. You don't have to be in your 80s to be afraid. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to be doing the scams of the seniors. And I'm sure you're well familiar with the scam artists going on out there.
One incident I'll quickly tell the audience.
Go ahead.
At one time with one of the doctors that I work with, internal medicine and OSHA, I came out to my car and there was somebody, unfortunately, I've never done that, but I did, unfortunately, left the car unlocked. So I put on my New York entertainment face, stuck my hands in my pocket, pointed it, and said, 2 minutes and I'll blow you away. And he ran, and from what I understand, he's still running. So out there, stop, please. 10, 40, 50. You are allowing people to take advantage of you.
You know, that's a sentence well known. You are allowing people to take advantage of you. Heard that from me for many times. Don't allow anybody to take advantage of you when it comes to anything. And I'm going to also, you know, when it comes to credit problems, we have a lot going on in this country. I've never seen things happen. Let me ask you something, because I've always said this to many people, and I'm going to ask you because you didn't know this. When people apply for a credit card and when people apply for things, in your day, it was Social Security, not the credit score. Have you ever heard, and when did you hear of this credit score? Or have you heard of it?
I really, unfortunately, where I, lived in New York City, and my father took care of us, and my sisters and brothers all supported. I was the youngest. My sister was 12 years older, and she was a hustler due to my mother, and worked in Washington, D.C. for Secretary of State Forrestal at the time. I was busy at the USO dancing with the guys and playing the piano. I got married, and unfortunately, I wasn't happy where I ended up in a project, and I went out to work again. And as I say, everyone has a different view about the way being used is. It's not woe is me out there. That goes for men, women, children, and adults. And with the seniors, it's sad because they were there always for the children. And now it's about turn. Stop misusing parents and seniors.
You know, Marge, I think I told the audience a couple of weeks ago, I went to a funeral of a cousin of mine. And the only strange thing at this funeral, of going to a funeral with my cousin, as I said, there was something with the pills that they gave, the doctor gave her the wrong medication. And the only thing that was different about this funeral, there was no senior people there of aunts and uncles and family. And I said, this is a reality check, that once the grandparents and the parents go, who's left?
Pearl, this is 2012.
2000. Well, what my main question was, what I said to you, have you ever heard, when you fill out an application, there's a Social Security number and a credit score. Have you ever heard of the credit score?
I hadn't heard about the credit score till I ran into the likes of you.
So, and this is interesting because the credit score was not in existence, people. We were back, and that's in one of my books, believe it or not. One of my books, Pearl Polto's Easy Guide to Good Credit. If you need any of my books, go to Amazon or call me personally. I still have all of them. But years ago, they went by Social Security numbers. And the Social Security numbers, naturally, we all know, when we're born, and we all have a Social Security number. And then the system changed. If you applied for a credit card, here's what they did. They pulled up your Social Security number. They checked your job that was on the application, and that's what they went by. But then years later, all these credit cards, all these banks, all these mortgage companies went into existence. Well, what can they do? They can't just call everybody's job. They can't just pull everybody's Social Security number. So, because all the scams out there on Social Securities, so they invented a credit score. Now, even the credit scores, they're not even valid because your credit score is like your blood pressure. It could go up, it could go down. Now, the first thing the creditors do is they used to with the Social Security number. Now you still have to put your Social Security number on an application, but they don't care about that no more. They care about that because they can pull up your report, but they really don't care about that because what they care about is your credit score, how the creditors are scoring you, how the credit bureaus are scoring you. So how can you get 3 different reports from 3 different credit bureaus? Now, the average of 3 different credit bureaus giving you scores, and a mortgage company will say, well, I'll take 2 out of the 3. Where are we at? Vegas? Well, let me give you 2 out of 1. They're going by numbers. And these numbers can go up and down every day. This is why your mortgage company will say, well, you know what? Let's wait and don't pay this or pay this off because it'll raise your score. Can you imagine you're going into your doctor's office and the doctor's saying to you, I want you to take this pill because if you take the pill, it's going to lower your blood pressure 5 minutes. Wouldn't that be nice? It could be called the miracle drug. Well, there are out there. You'll find out next week.
And what did that pill cost?
Well, the thing is, now today, it's a credit score. So everybody and their mother is saying, what's your score? What's your score? I'm so sick of hearing, what's your score? Because when I started in the 80s, there was no score. They had to do it the right way. What does it take to get your attention to let's change the world back? When she was growing up, when even I was growing up and educating you with all my books, what does it take to give you your credit rights? she'll die in her grave knowing that she said to the bill collector, hey, go to the cemetery if you want to collect a bill. And these bill collectors, this is how stupid they were. Who's hiring them, I don't know, but they probably did go to the cemetery for the address and mailed it to the cemetery address.
On this, Pearl, to interrupt you, I apologize, but one of the last things among the many things my daughter had, her last little payment sent to a credit card payment that was due. She wrote this the week before.
It's interesting, too. I want to do a show on this eventually. I haven't done a show on this, and that's cancer, as you notice. I haven't done a show on cancer. Her and her daughter did die of breast cancer, and she didn't even want to tell her mother that she had the breast cancer. She didn't tell me
for 1 year.
And it's interesting because I knew before her mother knew, and it was a Mother's Day, that she broke the news to her. And her mother, but you see, here's what bothered me, and I want to do a show on this, I'm not going to go from the interior subject because there's so many cancer hospitals out there, and I wrote it in my book, Doctors Don't Lie, They Bury Their Mistakes, what I had to learn from these hospitals, what was important to them. It wasn't the patients. Believe me, it wasn't the patients, what you have to hear, what I wrote in these books. But today's show is on, does it ever end? Do these bill collectors getting smarter? Are the people getting more stupid? Or is it the system is ruling us? Years ago in the 80s, they were called bill collectors. And I could deal with them. Even before I met Carrie Flitter, I could deal with them. Because I wrote them cease communication letters. I wrote in my book letters for you to write cease communication letters. And it was easy back then. And then they graduated. Now, who graduated them? Washington? Did Washington graduate them where they're saying it's a free-for-all? Do what you want to do. Let's put the president in where he's all for the rich. Because that's what happened. And these bill collectors happen to be attorneys. Now, the attorneys, quote, said, hey, I can do what I want to do. You heard the show, and if you didn't, go back to it on YouTube about the one attorney freezing the account illegally. But they thought they had it all because of the word beside their name, Esquire. I have a lot of things beside my name, but I don't take advantage of it. I have author, I have insurance agent, I have paralegal. I have it all. Credit expert, you name it. Talk show host, I have it all. But I'm not going to take advantage of it as these attorneys who are bill collectors are taking advantage of it, and not just to the poor or the rich or the middle class. You know who you are if you're sitting there getting harassed. The other day I received a phone call from a person that was on this show. And she said she's having a barbecue in the back on a Sunday. And this bang, bang, bang comes on her door where all the neighbors heard. And when they opened it up, it was from a bill collector collecting. And she said, you didn't have to bang my door down. And he said, oh, I'm sorry. I'm here to collect the debt on a Sunday. You have to reverse. You have to reverse it. I'm one person. I am the voice of many. But I can't help you if you're not helping yourself. And there's only a handful of people that I'm going to give credit to, and this is one of them beside me, that knows and got taught the lesson. And I want it to go on. I want it to be like a virus of the people. And maybe that's what I should call it, a virus of the people now. Let's reverse all these viruses out there. A virus of the people where we are not going to take it no more. You don't have to have shows on we're not going to take it no more. We need shows on what to do to put them out of business. I do have those solutions. And one show, I'm going to tell you about those solutions as I sat down with Congress in Washington and let them know, hey, they want credit problems in this country. We need credit problems in this country because we really would go under. I'm asking the people out there, one, if you're getting harassed, no matter how old you are, no matter if you're on unemployment, if you're on Social Security, you still have rights. And I'm still there trying to protect you, your rights, and telling you what to do next. And if you're too afraid and pay them. Like I go to a hairdresser and she says, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you came in. I was paying a bill collector, but I'm not sure if he's the bill collector. Can I show you the letter?" I said, "Do you have it with you?" And she said, "Yeah, I just happen to have it in my pocketbook." When she showed me the letter, I said, "How much you been paying these people?" She said, $100 a month. I said, "These are the bill collectors. Why didn't you pay the creditor?" She said, "They won't accept it." But I already told her that. But you see, I run into people every day that has the same kind of problems. And I won't stop until my dying day. I won't stop educating you until my dying day with shows like this and more shows about not just credit, different topics. The shows they have coming up, the woman that I have coming on that was scammed by another country, and our country can't do nothing. I can't say to this woman, "Hey, why did you do this? Why did you give them $16,000?" But you know what? I will try to help her out. I will try to help her out writing to the president of that country after she appears on this show. So people, if you're out there, if you're seniors, you don't have to be a seniors, but wouldn't you think if it was your mother and your grandmother? I have to ask you one more question. What do you think about the kids putting their parents and grandparents in homes?
That's a convenience at the time. Unbeknown, they've not been through life as yet. But in all, Pearl, and with your all-knowing, not that I elaborate on it, but what about the next generation? What have they got to look forward to? Are they going to alleviate it with drugs and alcohol?
Mm-hmm.
No way. No way, Jose.
But, I mean, would you condemn or praise your kids or any kids out there that's putting their parents into a home, or they shouldn't?
I wouldn't condemn or praise them, but there are other options, and let them know there are.
Suppose one of your kids said, "You're going into a home, Mom. We can't take care of you anymore. You're going into a home."
Well, I just put the gun in the pocket and pretend it's going to go off.
So obviously you're against it.
Yes, 150%.
So kids should not put their parents or grandparents into a home?
If they are, have...
You were a nurse, so you tell me. Should they or shouldn't they?
No, I was a doctor's assistant.
Okay, so should they or shouldn't they?
According to, and they should always get second opinions out there.
Okay.
Don't rely on one doctor, and whether it's well-known, etc., get two opinions. I advise everyone, as I did myself. But definitely, it isn't that all the kids, because there are boys out there disappointed, because when they go to get a job today, it's, you don't meet the qualifications. All right, kids, go elsewhere. Go get another job. Go to McDonald's. They need people part-time. And then you'll be surprised. I know of one person, and in behalf of him, he's Zoomed, and he's in charge of computers, and so well oriented, it's unbelievable. But truthfully, it isn't just the seniors that are involved today, unfortunately. It's much younger, in their 50s and 60s. But as far as deciding that if there is where the person has Alzheimer's and difficulty in getting around by himself and just remaining a vegetable, then it would be best for the patient, who would be their father or mother, to be admitted to be cared for in that way. As sad as it is.
Do you think, but you're more favorable of home care coming into their own home?
If elected, but even that, Pearl, I question, being very independent, and that's the way I've been all my life, and I will continue that way.
I know you were a caregiver to your own daughter for a long time, and it's a shame because one of the co-hosts of the radio station is in desperate need of a care person, and I thought of you right away, and I thought, oh, wow, if you were 20 years younger, you'd have been perfect for her to take care of her, and it's a shame because she's under hospice now. But, there's so much that people has to learn, and we don't know what's going on in the next 20 years.
Well, I have helped many a person that I just did it out of the gratuity. I remember my mother sending food and clothing, and send me to the.
You do it out of caring.
You
do it out of caring.
To my relatives in Ireland since I was a kid. So that's the way I have been.
I want to thank you, Marge. I can't thank you enough because not many people, if even seniors, would be bold enough. You had a stroke. It shows. That's why you wanted to wear the sunglasses, and your family in Ireland will be seeing you hopefully.
Well,
and you're going to leave your mark.
Well, as Frank and I said, I've done it my way.
She's seen Frank Sinatra, too. She's not joking over that. If you have a credit problem, 1-800-876-CREDIT, C-R-E-D, or go to my website, www.pearlpolto.net, and please pass this around to your loved ones, your aunts, your uncles, and your grandparents. Let them watch it. Let them see how the seniors really feel about what's going on in this country. You know what? You may not want to hear it. You may not like it, but I think it's time we open up our eyes. We are them tomorrow. This is Pearl Polto, as always, making the most of your credit, giving credit where credit's due. Next week, don't forget, Dr. Paul, the vitamins.